Hello, today we read from the book of 1 Samuel, the chapter 14. In 13 it was about, um, we saw that in desperate, that the people of Israel were not prepared for a war, and even if it was some kind of peaceful time, um, uh, they had nothing uh, for nothing prepared for a war. Uh, Only Saul and his Jonathan had some sword or spear or a spear. Now let's read the chapter 14. It's another verse that I forgot. It's from the chapter 13, but I don't know why. The last verse here is attached to the chapter 14, even if it's verse 23. Now let's read the verse 23 and the chapter 14. Now a detachment of Philistines had gone out to the pass at Michmash. One day Jonathan, son of Saul, said to the young man bearing his armor, "Come, let's go over to the Philistine outpost on the other side. But he did not tell his father. Here we see something that said to the young man bearing his armor, a person who could trust that much. Saul was staying on the outskirts of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree in Migron. With him were about 600 men. At first there were 2,000, but now they are just 600. 100 men, among whom was Ahiah, who was wearing an ephod. Yeah, he did not listen to God at first time, and Samuel said to him, you will not your gen or will not be a king forever because of what you did. Yeah, maybe he was sad about that, but yeah, he didn't have enough patience. 600 men, among whom was Ahiah, who was wearing an ephod. He was the son of Ichabod's brother. Ahitub, son of Ahitub, son of Phinehas, the son of Eli. We know the story when Phinehas had died, when the Ark of the Covenant was stolen by the Philistines. Eli died too because he heard about that, and the wife of Phinehas gave birth to a child, and he gave him the name of Ichabod. And now we see that she had another son maybe older than Ichabod, Ahitub. Or was she married after Phineas died? I don't know. The Lord's priest in Shiloh. No one was aware that Jonathan had left. On each side of the pass that Jonathan intended to cross to reach the Philistine outpost was a cliff. One was called Bozez. I don't know what that means, but yeah. And the other's Seneh. One cliff stood to the north toward Michmash. The other to the south toward Geba. Jonathan said to his young armor bearer, "Come, let's go over to the outpost of those uncircumcised fellows. Perhaps the Lord will act in our behalf. Nothing can hinder the Lord from saving, whether by many or by few." Wow. He had that trust in God. He was a fighter, and not just a fighter, he was a courageous, and he had faith in God. And wow. "Do all that you have in mind," his armor bearer said. "Go ahead, I am with you, heart and soul." With your heart, I think, yeah, with your heart and soul. It's very good to have an armor bearer, to have someone who can stand with you and who can encourage you, and a person who can, who you can trust, and he to trust in you. But it's not about relationship of it's about friendship. There are it's not about marriage or something like that, not at all, and or about girl or boy, between girl. There were two boys here, and it was no such things like evil things, but it was that kind of trust, which is rare. It's very good to have someone you can trust, and someone who that person can trust, that even to follow you and to protect you and to encourage you. Jonathan said, "Come then, we will cross over toward the men and let them see us." Even in hard times, wow, Jonathan, you have that much courage. But stop, we are just two of them. We are just two. It's too dangerous. Don't go. Or I don't care, I will stay here. No. Go ahead, I am with your heart and soul. If you want, if we will lose our lives, let be it. Let lose our lives. But I am with your heart and soul. Wow. Jonathan said, "Come then, we will cross over toward the men and let them see us. If they say to us, 'Wait there until we come to you,' we will stay where we are and not go up to them. But if they say, 'Come up to us,' we will climb up, because that will be our sign that the Lord has given them into our hands." So both of them showed themselves to the Philistine outpost. "Look," said to the Philistines, "the Hebrews are crawling out of the holes they were hiding in." The men of the outpost shouted to Jonathan and his armor bearer, Come up to us and we'll teach you a lesson. They wanted to make fun of them, or to make jokes, bad jokes, or and to kill them, I think, So Jonathan said to his armor bearer, "Climb up after me, the Lord has given them into the hand of Israel." Because he asked for a sign before. If they say to us, "Wait there until we come to you," we will stay where we are and not go up to them. But if they say, "Come up to us," we will climb up, because that will be our sign that the Lord has given them into our hands. It's a very good thing to, it's okay to ask for signs from God. God, if the answer will be something like that, or if this thing will happen, let me know that means that things will happen somehow, a sign. So both of them showed themselves to the Philistine outpost. Here. Jonathan climbed up using his hand and feet, with his armor bearer right behind him. The Philistines fell before Jonathan, and his armor bearer followed and killed behind him. In that first attack, Jonathan and his armor bearer killed some 20 men in an area of about half an acre. It was very difficult to climb the cliff, but still they were killing, and I don't know if they had maybe they had no archers or something like that, the Philistines. Or I don't know how was the situation there. God was with them, that we know for sure. Then panic struck the whole army, those in the camp and field, and those in the outposts and raiding parties, and the ground shook. It was panic sent by God. Sometimes God send panic in front of you, it's very weird. But it was for a good thing. It was for good. Saul's lookouts at Gibeah in Benjamin saw the army melting away in all directions. Then Saul said to the men who were with him, "Muster the forces and see who has left us." When they did, it was Jonathan and his armor bearer who were not there. Saul said to Ahiah, "Bring the ark of God." At that time it was with the Israelites. While Saul was talking to the priest, the tumult in the Philistine camp increased more and more. So Saul said to the priest, "Withdraw your hand." Then Saul and all his men assembled and went to the battle. They found the Philistines in total confusion, striking each other with their swords. Those Hebrews who had previously been with the Philistines and had gone up with them to their camp went over to the Israelites who were with Saul and Jonathan. When all the Israelites who had hidden in the hill country of Ephraim heard that the Philistines were on the run, they joined the battle in hot pursuit. So the Lord rescued Israel that day, and the battle moved on beyond Bet-aven. What happened here? God was there. And they found the Philistines in total confusion, striking each other with their swords. They were killing each other. It was spiritual. God was there and God confused them, and they even don't know, are you my enemy? I don't know you, but they were Philistines, and they didn't. It was a confusion there, and they were killing each other. It was very weird. Now the men of Israel were in distress that day, because Saul had bound the people under an oath, saying, "Cursed be any man who eats food before evening comes, before I have avenged myself on my enemies." So none of the troops tasted food. An oath without wisdom at all. Why would you do that? Is it in front of God? But even if, you should be prepared for a war before the war, not in the war. You should prepare yourself before. You cannot train yourself. Yeah, you train yourself in the battle. You should prepare yourself. You should be already prepared for the war. And look at what happened there. Without food, how could they fight? They needed food to resist and to fight, to have strength and to not die. Saul could make your wives and your children to not eat anything and to pray for you. But you are fighting, you will eat. That was more wise. Or to part the people and to make, you are the prayers, you are the fighters, you are, but not like that. The entire army entered the woods, and there was honey on the ground. When they went into the woods, they saw the honey oozing out. Wow. It's like when you're fast, you take, you not eat anything and you pray and it's for a cause, and you put that cause in front of God. Sometimes it's like some things comes in front of you. You are fasting and it's like Satan comes and to you and try to make you fall or something like that. Yeah. And it was for them it was like that. But still we can question this. It was inspired by God, that oath, or not? And there was honey on the ground. When they went into the woods, they saw the honey oozing out, yet no one put his hand to his mouth, because they feared the oath. Wow. Very good people. People who keep their words. That's the most beautiful thing. If you keep, do you keep your words? Maybe for some words you had no chance for doing that. Maybe I saw that, or I even in front of God, but I had no chance for doing it. And it's not my fault, because it did not happen yet. And it's a weird thing. Yeah. But Jonathan had not heard that his father had bound the people with the oath. So he reached out the end of the staff that was in his hand and dipped it into the honeycomb. He was not there. Saul and his armor bearer. He raised his hand to his mouth, and his eye brightened. Wow. So was it that honey? Was it from Satan or from God? But they took the oath, an oath. But was Saul inspired by God by doing this or not? Or was he wise, thinking twice or about that? Then one of the soldiers told him, "Your father bound the army under a strict oath, saying, 'Cursed be any man who eats food today.' That is why the men are faint." Jonathan said, "My father has made trouble for the country. See how my eyes brightened when I tasted a little of this honey. How much better it would have been if the men had eaten today some of the plunder they took from their enemies. Would not the slaughter of the Philistines have been even greater?" That day, after the Israelites had struck down the Philistines from Michmash to Aijalon, they were exhausted. They pounced on the plunder and, taking sheep, cattle, and calves, they butchered them on the ground and ate them. They were very hungry. They couldn't keep the oath anymore. Together with the blood. Wow. Then someone said to Saul, "Look, the men are sinning against the Lord by eating meat that has blood in it." "You have broken faith," he said. Roll a large stone over here at once." Then he said, "Go out among the men and tell them, 'Each of you bring me your cattle and sheep and slaughter them here and eat them. Do not sin against the Lord by eating meat with blood still in it.'" Yeah, raw, fresh, alive. They were eating animals, almost alive, live animals. They were very hungry. It was a war there. They couldn't keep the oath anymore. Oath that they did not took it, but Saul took it for all the Israelites. Took it. If you are something like that, do not, if you are like you're fasting and you're praying so much and that is your life, but you cannot restrict all the people to be like you, because maybe they are not. Maybe they cannot do what you do. What do you do? What are you doing? And you make them, you put them into a hardship. So everyone brought his ox that night and slaughtered it there. Then Saul built an altar to the Lord. It was the first time he had done this. Saul said, "Let us go down after the Philistines by night and plunder them till dawn, and let us not leave one of them alive." "Do whatever seems best to you," they replied. He was their king, and they should follow him. And they were faithful to him. But the priest said, "Let us inquire of God here." So Saul asked God, Shall I go down after the Philistines? Will you give them into Israel's hand? But God did not answer him that day. God was sad. Why? Because he took an oath, but they broke it. It was not a wise to took an oath, but we saw other people in the judge, that even the daughter of that man, I don't remember the name, he sacrificed his daughter because he took an oath. He kept his word. What are we doing with our words? Are we saying, I'm doing this, I'm saying that, I'm making that, I'm making... And another day, oh, I don't making that anymore. God, please forgive me. And it's nothing. I say nothing, and we forget everything. No, 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 no. What are we doing? Do we still have value in God's eyes? In God's eyes? Do we still have character if we do this? But at first, we must be wise. We must think twice or way more than that. If we make an oath, if we make a promise, we must think about it more and more until we do it, until we say the promise. If we do not do that, it's not okay to swear or to take an oath and to not keep it. And you will have no value anymore. I promise I will not do this anymore. I promise God that I promise that I will make that, I will make this. Really? Really? And what are you doing? But are you smart in what are you saying? Did you think twice or more? Or what do you want? Because you will lose yourself, you will lose your trust, you will lose your character by joking with words, by being not serious, you will be cheap, a cheap person. You will have no value anymore. People cannot trust you anymore because you say one thing and the other day you say another thing. Let's continue with the text. But God did not answer him that day. Why God is not answering to us? Because we have no character anymore. Because we lost ourselves, we became cheap. We became so liars. And God don't like lies. You can say, God, please forgive me, Bob. God, please, don't make another promise that you cannot keep it. But still, yeah. Maybe God will forgive you, but still, with tears in your eyes, God wants that you to repent yourself, or how can I say? Saul therefore said, "Come here, all you who are leaders of the army, and let us find out what sin has been committed today." He knew why God is not answering him. if God is not answering to you, ask yourself, think yourself to yourself, why? Is it because of a sin or something? Is like a wall between me and God? A wall that I made it because God is holy. And if He is holy and you're not, if He will come to you, you will die. You will be punished to death. So clean yourself with Jesus Christ's blood, and just then come to Him and ask Him and wait for Him to answer you, to answer to you. If you're not doing this, maybe He will never answer to you, because He cannot. He can, but when He will come, maybe He will kill you, because He is holy. And if you are not holy, that will happen. As surely as the Lord who rescues Israel lives, even if it lies with my son Jonathan, he must die. Look what he's saying. But no one of the men said the word. They knew that Jonathan broke the oath, but he didn't know about the oath. Saul then said to all the Israelites, "You stand over there, and I and Jonathan my son will stand over here. Do what seems best to you." The men replied. They knew everything, but they are acting wise. They were wise. They were faithful. They were good people. I mean, wow, such a good army. Then Saul prayed to the Lord, the God of Israel, "Give me the right answer." And Jonathan and Saul were taken by lot, and the men were cleared. Saul said, "Cast the lot between me and Jonathan my son." And Jonathan was taken. It's like a gambling or something like that, but yeah, but God was involved in that. God did not answer to him at first time, but now. Then Saul said to Jonathan, "Tell me what you have done." He knew. He was so sure that God answered him to that gambling, or how can I say, to that lot, and he's saying, "Tell me what you have done." So Jonathan told him, "I merely tasted a little honey with the end of my staff, and now must I die?" Saul said, "May God deal with me, be it ever so severely, if you do not die, Jonathan." He was like, but he had no love at all. Maybe he wanted to show to the God that he loves God, even if it must to take his son's life. Maybe he was crying in himself that at the last time God was not like before, because he couldn't kept that patience before when someone came. He wanted to gain God's trust and once again, and even if that would mean to sacrifice his own son. That he loved him, but did he love him more? Did he love God more, or did he love his image more than he to be redeemed by God, and he didn't care about his son that he will die? I want to show you that I even take my own son's life, that you to look at me anymore, to gain your trust. No, anymore, more, once more, to gain your trust and to not leave me. He didn't like that God didn't answer to him. And I don't like when God is not answering, and I'm just waiting and waiting, and what, God, what is the problem? What is it about? Because of a sin, or because, or is it? Or is it not? Or what's the problem? I really don't know about myself. I mean, maybe God is working different at my life because He wants to teach me something. Maybe because He wants to put some skills into my character, some patience, some trusting God, some faith, to work at my faith and more. Yeah, let's continue to the text. But the man said to Saul, "Should Jonathan die, he who has brought about this great deliverance in Israel? Never! As surely as the Lord lives, not a hair of his head will fall to the ground, for he did this today with God's help." So the man rescued Jonathan, and he was not put to death. People of Israel, those people had value. Even if they couldn't keep the promise anymore that Saul made, but they were still keeping it. I mean, after Jonathan broke the law, everyone, they couldn't stand anymore, and they were eating fresh meat from fresh, maybe live animals, almost, or with blood. It was horrifying, but they were that hungry. As surely as the Lord lives, not a hair of his head will fall to the ground, for he did this today with God's help. So the man rescued Jonathan, and he was not put to death. Then Saul stopped pursuing the Philistines, and they withdrew to their own land. Saul loved his son, but he wanted to show to the God. He loved himself more, even more than his son, and that was not okay. We will see that in the future. Then Saul stopped pursuing the Philistines, and they withdrew to their own land. After Saul had assumed the rule over Israel, he fought against their enemies on every side. Moab, the Ammonites, Edom, the kings of Zobah, and the Philistines. whenever he turned, he inflicted punishment on them. He fought valiantly and defeated the Amalekites. Delivering Israel from the hands of those who had plundered them. Saul's sons were Jonathan. Jonathan was the first one. Ishvi and Malchishua. The name of his older daughter was Merab, and that of the younger was Michal. His wife, whose name was Ahinoam, daughter of Ahimaaz. The name of the commander of Saul's army was Abner, son of Ner. And Ner was Saul's uncle. Saul's father, Kish, so Ner and Kish were brothers, I think. And Abner's father, Ner, were sons of Abiel. All the days of Saul there was bitter war with the Philistines. And whenever Saul saw a mighty or brave man, he took him into his service. Yeah. That was the chapter. We can learn a lot from here. From one part, Saul was not that wise with sacrifice to the Lord. Sacrifices, yeah, not sacrifices by killing animals, but sacrifices as fasting, not eating anything, or by other things. But he was a warrior, and God was with Saul. Yep. That was the chapter. May the God bless me, protect me, and delight me in the next chapter too. And if you want, you will see me there too. God bless you all, and goodbye.